we'll turn back to the passing game then. We'll start at the top with Amari Cooper. And through 4 weeks while Dak was healthy, Cooper led the NFL in fantasy points, 85.5, 21.3 per game. He was crushing it. He also led the NFL in targets, 51 targets through those first 4 weeks, nearly 13 per game. It was an insane pace. CeeDee Lamb was the next closest, but that was with a meager 28 total looks. Do you think this kind of true alpha wide receiver one workload continues in 2021, kind of like that Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams for Mike McCarthy? Do you think we see that again, or is that gap going to start closing between Amari and the rest of the team?
I think the gap closes specifically between Amari and CeeDee. I think that CeeDee Lamb is so special, and if there has been a superstar of camp, it's CeeDee Lamb. A friend of mine, David Hellman, who covers the Cowboys for DallasCowboys.com, back during the Dez Bryant days, anytime Dez would do something freakish, he would call it a Dez thing. There were things that only Dez could do, and CeeDee is in that neck of the woods, where he just does these things that you can't really explain it. And he's done them against Trayvon Diggs, who's the Cowboys' best corner. Granted, the Cowboys' best corner, so make of that what you will. But I really think this is the year of CeeDee Lamb. I really think he would have outshined Justin Jefferson last year with a full season of Dak Prescott. I mean, this guy he had a really great rookie season, and he didn't even play 5 games with Dak Prescott, who is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And so Amari's such a hard guy to figure out, and I say that with frustration because I own a share of Amari in a dynasty league. But I also have CeeDee there, so I've hedged myself nicely. Just because you never know what you're going to get. I mean, a couple of years ago, he would mysteriously disappear in road games. He's had injury issues where you don't quite know what's going on. He's a really quiet guy, so it's so difficult to figure out what you're going to get there. He is a true home run because when he's on, he's on. He's the only player in Dallas Cowboys history, wide receiver, who has had multiple 200-yard receiving games, and he accomplished that in like his first 12 games of the team. So I mean, he is and can be absolutely amazing, but I mean, this is a really interesting year for the Cowboys. Michael Gallup is entering a contract year, and they can get out of the Amari Cooper contract and only eat $6 million off the salary cap in 2022. So there is a world where, in 6 or 7 months, the Cowboys decide we're done with Amari. We'll cut him. We'll eat the $6 million. We'll pair CeeDee Lamb with Michael Gallup for the foreseeable future, as opposed to Amari Cooper. And so in that sense, I could see them, not shying away from Amari Cooper, but I could just see things naturally leaning more towards CeeDee Lamb being the star of this offense from a wide receiver perspective.
Really intriguing that CeeDee Lamb could be the star over Amari, who again was leading the NFL in fantasy points before Dak went down. What about his ankle? Are you concerned at all for the ankle surgery he had? Like, he hasn't been practicing. They're saying that we shouldn't be too concerned. Are you buying that, or are you nervous?
I'm a little nervous because of the way things have always been with him. Not nervous in a, smash the glass, this is an emergency type of thing, but it's always been, I don't want to say there's always been something, but it's always been weird with Amari, especially from an injury standpoint. And, he wasn't at minicamp, or he was, but, was very limited, obviously, with this. And there were murmurs then that he was going to start camp on the PUP list, which is where he currently is. And, there's logic to them keeping him on ice. They don't need to see Amari Cooper running routes in late July. The Cowboys know what they have in him. And so it makes sense that they could just be being smart about this. But there's just, it's such a unique situation that I don't give it my whole, full, natural, unmitigated trust. I'm definitely a little bit weary of that, just because that's always kind of been the story with him ever since he became a Cowboy. He's been remarkable, and it's been incredibly worth it. But there's just a different sense of trust, different sense of confidence in CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, even just because you've never really Michael Gallup, for anyone that didn't see, literally flipped over fence that borders the practice field at the Cowboys practice facility. He was, his running, his momentum carried him, did a front flip and landed awkwardly on his ankle. And he did miss a practice with a tweaked ankle, but has already been back. And so it's a little bit more normal with Michael Gallup than it has been with Amari Cooper. So I'm not worried or panicked or nervous. This has always been different. And I think I'm just cognizant of that.
Intriguing there. So what do you think of his over under then? 1,175.5 and 7.5 TDs. You going over? You going under?
I'll take the under on yards, just because I don't think that, again, I think the opportunity will be different for the team, just based on the way they're constructed overall. But I do think I'll take the over on touchdowns. I can see, especially with 17 games, a touchdown every other game is very conceivable, very doable for Amari Cooper. But I do think they'll be one of the league's better offenses, but it might not be the stupid fantasy numbers that we saw early on last season.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.